Hey, everybody. Welcome to Why Am I Yelling Live? It is day 2 of our listening tour. I am Krista Rizzo, and I am your host. Uh, as you know, I do Why Am I Yelling Lives every Friday, and we've amped them up for the next several weeks because it's important for me to listen. There are people in my circles, my friend circle, my family circle, who want to know more and how we can do better and be better. And so I have reached out to my friends in the Black community, in the African American community, and I've asked them to share their voices and their experiences and teach us how to be better and do better. I am so happy and privileged and thankful to have this amazing human next to me right now. His name is Frank McClary. He is the current mayor of Andrews, South Carolina. He is a former retired colonel in the United States Army. And he and I know each other because his wife organized the TEDx talk in Andrews, South Carolina that I had the pleasure and privilege of being in the graduating class of. So, and when I met Frank, I immediately fell in love with him. I mean, he's just an absolute doll. So one of the first people I thought to reach out to was him because he is in South Carolina. I am in New York. We're in two very different places. And I think that, we're going to have a really good conversation. So if you have any questions or comments or anything, put them in the comment section. Thank you, Frank, for being here, Mr. Mayor. And let's just get into it. I want to know, how you feel about, how this whole thing is going down, but really, how can we be of better service to you and and the African American community to bring humanity together as one giant community?
Okay. Before I answer that, let me give you a little bit about my background, and you'll understand my perspective on things. It can
Totally.
be very different from the next man or the next African American. I was born here in Andrews, a little small town here in South Carolina, probably a population of maybe about 3,000. And we sit here in the Georgetown County, which is on the East Coast near the Myrtle Beach. So a small town, but, came up with people were together. I mean, black, white, I didn't see any, at that time, any racial barriers. I played ball, so I met many of my friends and the people I'm serving now who are elderly through sports and school. And so I fell in love with this town from there and always was concerned about the people here. And again, I say the people, not just a people. Right. And so then I was fortunate enough to go off to college, play some baseball, and fell in love with the ROTC and graduated distinguished military graduate from Benedict College and got commissioned as an Army officer. And so my life continued then service. And again, we talk about people, that gave me an opportunity to expand my reach to people of all different walks of life, different countries, yes. Different economic status, third world countries to see, where people are living on, the very bare minimum. And so I was sent there, me and my folks were sent there to help. And that's what the United States do. So that's kind of, so when we talk about this thing about what's important, I think people are important, regardless of who you are. I think there are people that are praying for us and helping us along the way. And we have to understand that they're putting us in a position where we need to be able to do the same for others. And so that's kind of been my life where I tell my wife now, I said, I do this mayor's job doesn't pay, I think it's like $600 a month. Right. But again, I was blessed that the Army and God, hey, you go out and do these things. And I retired as a colonel, so I'm living off my retirement. And all I do is try to give back and try to encourage others, regardless of who you are, because I believe as long as you're alive, you have an opportunity to improve or to help someone. And so your efforts should be towards that. As long as you can take care of your family, take what else you have and try to help someone, even if it's just an encouraging word. Because a lot of time that's what they're looking for. So I'm all in. I'm all in about that. And so then some of the challenges along the way, and then break in anytime you want.
No, I want to hear it. Keep going.
I'm a politician. I can go.
I know. That's what I love about you.
And I'm an Army guy, and I'm passionate about leading. So I tell people, and I use the word politician, but I said I'm a leader. And a leader, to be a leader, you have to have folks that are following you. And then what comes with that is responsibility for their health and welfare and their quality of life.
Yeah.
And so then that's time consuming. You're going to give up a lot on your personal side, but it's important that you make people feel that they are just as important. And so it's a lot of work. And so then that's what brought me back to Andrews, because I felt that, again, with all the things I've learned through the military, that I can come back and help, make our little small town and our county better and help the people that has helped me along the way. Now, the thing what I've learned since I've been back, as I said earlier, that I did not see any racial divides. But now that I'm back, I know that in the current environment that we're in, there are some racial lines. There are some things that are different about us that we need to be aware of, so we cannot allow those things to prevent us from helping someone else. We have to first acknowledge that, yes, we are different in some ways, but we are human. That's where we meet on the even ground, is that we are human beings. We're all God's children. We all bleed the same color blood, need the same things to be, healthy and to thrive. So if we stay there, then we can work through some of the other challenges. And then the differences should be our strength.
I love that.
Not our weakness. The differences between us should be our strength, not our weakness. And so, I think, so part of what we have to do, I think, to help fix where, some of the challenges we have right now. So as we look at the situation with the Mr. George Floyd and his death and the things surrounding around that, we know this is not the first time. We have to understand that how did we get there? And I think it's because we do not respect one another for our differences, whether it's the color of our skin or our level of education. We don't. And we've bought into some of the stereotypes that has been plaguing us for a very long time. So then and so, for example, as you mentioned, I'm a retired colonel, now mayor, and been a lot of places, done a lot of things. But I know that I've learned that I'm still seen as just a black man. And so what changes that is when people realize that, oh, he's a colonel or he's a mayor. That should not be the case.
No.
Because I'm that same person that you see when I was in uniform, because I noticed a difference. I would be at a place and I would go into, if they see me in uniform, I'm treated differently. And I can go back to that same place in my civilian attire and it's very different.
Right.
Now, not like it's just outward, but I can tell it's not the warm welcome.
You feel it.
I feel it. And I think the thing that will help us do better, as you said, do better and be better, is removing all that. Judge me based on what I do.
Yep.
How I present myself to you.
Right.
And I think that's in any case. So if you're going to come and be a jerk, then you're going to get treated as a jerk. I don't care who you are.
Right.
But if I'm being pleasant to you and I'm going to, and I'm just trying to be the most upstanding person, citizen, treat me with the same respect. And that's not normally the case. I'm already, typecast, if you will.
Yeah.
When I come in. And so I'm conscious of that. But I think the thing that helped me, and I've never had a blatant racial event, but I've seen what is happening around the world, and I'm conscious of those things. So I make conscious effort to make sure that I present myself as such that we're not going to have a conflict.
You don't have that. Right.
Yeah. And I think that's where we sometimes get into situations where it becomes explosive.
Yeah.
Because not everyone is not necessarily conscious of or feel that they have to be that transparent.
Yeah.
So then if I have, so then this guy gets stopped by a cop, let's say for an example, if I'm not doing anything, I expect you're going to treat me that way.
Yeah.
And if you don't, then I'm going to have, but see me, I go into it. I said, okay, I know the environment. In fact, I got stopped in Louisiana years ago at night.
Yeah.
I was going to a military base at night. I'm traveling And obviously I was coming from California. So I'm now I speed.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm not coming from Andrews, South Carolina.
I'm not coming
I'm
from
in
South Carolina.
California.
I've been stationed out there for
Oh, it's
3 years,
amazing.
and they drive fast, so I know I was going fast. But here I am in Louisiana,
Yes.
and so I'm aware, and I understand that south and things happen. So in my mind, okay, this is not a good situation. It's midnight,
Yeah, it's late.
and I'm on this dark road.
Yeah.
A black man driving this car that's from out of state. So I'm conscious of all this.
Right.
So my first thing, what I do, I said I'm gonna make sure that my hands are visible.
Yes.
Now, does everyone do that? I don't, maybe not. But again, I understand the environment and I'm not offended by it. I just don't want things to escalate.
Right.
Now, not everyone does that. They say, hey, I'm not doing anything. I know whether I was speeding or not, I'm going to keep my hands down here.
Right.
And then things have the potential to, because whatever this cop, whoever he is, he may, hey, look, okay, I know this is a black man. And whatever the case is, I'm going to come in hard.
Right.
And then that's when the things begin to unravel.
Right.
So sometimes we have to put ourselves in an uncomfortable situation to prevent things from getting out of control. That's just the environment we're in. We shouldn't be there. So how do we fix that?
So you make such an interesting point, because I watched something last night, and I cannot, because I've been just watching and reading. And hello, Denisha McClary. I'm talking to your husband. I love you and I miss you. And this person who was talking, I think it was a sports person, a football player. But he was saying he has to walk out of his house every day with that kind of awareness. And that struck me, because I don't walk out of my house every day. And like that's what he said. He said, he plays in Texas. He lives in Houston. He said, or Austin. I live in an affluent, he's a football player. He makes a lot of money. I live in an affluent neighborhood, and I was sitting in my car and about to get out of my car, but I saw my neighbor from across the street going to get her mail. And I waited until she finished getting her mail before I got out of my car at my own home, because I didn't want any kind of anything. And that literally broke my heart. Like, that breaks my heart.
Yes, and I think that's one of the things that non-African Americans doesn't understand. That we have lived this. This is a part of our history for 400 years plus. Right. And so, I don't really understand how this thing continued in 2020. Right. We are still having to deal with this every day.
Right.
And having this, again, having to go that extra step to make sure that people know that, hey, I'm just an upstanding guy, and I just want to, live and be happy and love everybody.
And serve. Serve.
Yeah. I mean, when I run now, my wife is concerned when I get out on the road and go running that, something's going to happen. I try not to have that concern, but I know it's real.
Right.
And not everybody going to respect the fact that, you and upset, you haven't done anything wrong. Right. You're okay. You're a human being.
Right.
And so we live that. Now, how do we fix it? I think, again, it goes back to, and I'm not an expert in this field. I just know it from
personal experience. That makes you an expert.
Yeah. That I go about treating people fairly.
Yes.
I go out of my way to make sure that regardless of who you are, I'm not going to hurt you. I will help you before I hurt you. I would never hurt you.
Right.
I would never try to bring harm to you intentionally. And I want to, and I want to offer what I have to make you a better person. I would offer that advice. I go out, I travel, as far as I can. If someone said they need me or they need to talk, I'm going to make myself available, because, I think that's my reward. When I see people do better based on something I've said, or they've seen me demonstrated something in a way that moves them to be or pursue their dreams.
Yeah.
That's important. I often tell the story. I had a young sergeant that I was way in DC at the Pentagon, and that was I think in 2003, and he served in my unit in 1994.
Oh.
But they saw me on some TV show where I got caught on the camera, and they said, "Hey, I want him to come and promote me." Now he's way down in Georgia,
Right.
and this thing was in like that weekend. But I thought it was important enough, and he's a young white man. And I said, "But he was a soldier in my unit, and he's a soldier. I'm going to Benning," and it was I think maybe an 8-hour drive.
Oh my God.
Went down there and promoted him. The ceremony lasted 30 minutes. Spent about 30 minutes with he and his wife, and back up to DC because it's important. And he remembers that to this day.
Of course. Of course he does.
To me. Yes.
That's a beautiful moment.
Yes. We were called things when I promoted him early on when he was a young sergeant. And we talk right now. And those are the things that's important to me because I've seen he's gone off. He's retired now, and beautiful family. But he thought enough about what I've done to say that, this is a decent guy.
Right. You made an impact, and that's important. You are a leader, and that's what it is, right?
It is leadership, and this is where we fail.
Oh, please. I mean, that's we need 17 more hours for that conversation.
And in regards to where you are, whether you're elected official, parent, teacher, it doesn't matter. When you have influence over people and responsible for the quality of life, you got to understand that that's going to be hard work. Yeah. But you accepted the role and you got to put the work in. And you got to make a difference in people's lives.
So I know we have limited time. So for the next 7 minutes, you have children, I have children. I want to talk about the message that we send to our children through something like this. My kids are very spread apart in age, 14 and 8, right? So it's two very different conversations that we're having in our home. But I want to hear from you. Are you teaching your kids to be more aware in the way that you were just saying? I know that I have to go outside and I have to be mindful and that kind of thing. I mean, how are you raising your children in this climate?
It's a challenge.
Yes, sir.
Because I think parenting, regardless in this day and age, is a challenge because of their access to social media, the entertainment world.
Yep.
And so then if you're working parents and all those other things, or you're busy with something else, you're not going to spend as much time you need with them to shape their lives. So it's a challenge. But when you get those opportunities, we need to have this real talk. Now, again, Denisha is much better at it with our daughter, 11 years old, than I am. Again, in talking about those things, because I feel that I just got to shield her from it.
My baby, right?
Yeah, and not let her be exposed to it. But I can't. I'm realizing I can't because she spends, probably way too much time on social media. So she's aware of the environment, believe it or not. 11 years old.
Yeah, of course.
She amazes me with some of the things she talk about and the things that affect her, which she see through our leaders, through these kind of events, whether it's COVID-19 or whether it's just the situation we're dealing with George Floyd. She is well aware of it, and I don't know if we can catch up with, get ahead of it,
right,
and try to shape it.
Right.
So she's forming these opinions about these things right now that is unfortunately is shaping who she is. And so it's a tough thing for parents right now to try to taper those things and get it on the right track, because everyone right now is responding in such rage and frustration. You can't hide it from your kids. They pick up from what you're doing. And so we just have to be conscious of that. And hopefully that, if there's two parents, one of them is aware and is having these conversations and keeping them from having, becoming frustrated.
Yes.
And want to do things out of fear or hate. Yeah. Or dislike for a certain, color of skin or economic status.
Right.
It is those things. So I think it's constant conversation. It's keeping them in a safe environment and trying to control the things that they have access to. And again, it's tough. Now we were coming up, we were well in control. So when the parents say, "Don't do this or don't go there," you don't.
You didn't do it. Right.
Yeah, and there's consequences. Guy was asking me yesterday, about this side, the other side of town. Andrew's only 2.2 square miles.
I know. I've seen it all.
I didn't know anything about Andrews on that side of town because when your parents give you limitation and boundaries, that's where you stay. I said, so I didn't know what the infrastructure was on this side of town, like I'm dealing with today. And so
Wow.
then, but that's not with our kids.
No, they know
Jasmine,
everything all over the world.
all over the world.
It's
She's
amazing.
traveled all over the world. She's aware of these things, and so I'm still figuring it out. So I don't know if I have any nuggets to offer
No, I
anyone
love it.
right
I
now.
love the communication. I think
Yeah.
it's really important, and I think being available for them
Yes.
to have those conversations, and they're hard conversations, especially with our kids. I mean, these conversations between adults are hard enough, right?
Yes. Yes.
But I appreciate that you're being open and honest with her, and that you are keeping your lines of communication open and making her feel safe, that you are providing a space for her to feel like she can talk to you guys. That's
Yes.
important.
Yes. And again, she enlightened us on a lot of things that we wasn't aware that
It's
she was
amazing.
exposed to. Yeah, it's quite amazing. So it's causing me now to adjust how I do things. You know, as we go through life's challenges, I'm realizing every moment that I need to adjust and focus more on those important things with family and the kids coming up and that kind of stuff. And so it's a tough balance, especially in a public
Yeah.
position, but it's important.
Well,
It's
you're
really
doing
important.
wonderful, amazing work down there in Andrews, South Carolina. And clearly you have made an impact on a lot of people, because I met a lot of them, and they are all just, you guys, like, you have just such a beautiful, lovely town. And it's, I can't wait to come back, just to come back.
We want you to come back. As you know, our gates and doors and the roads are open for you to come back. And I'm coming up to see you all too, because I spent some time with your mayor and
Uh-huh.
on a couple of occasions, and the guys are and our hearts and prayers are with you up there as you all battle that challenge to with this
Crazy.
disease and all these other things that are going on. And so my plan is to get back up. In fact, I went to second grade at PS 100 back in the day.
Oh my God, I love it. I love
Yeah,
it.
PS 100. So
Oh,
I'm familiar with Manhattan a little bit.
yes. Well, when you come, you have to let us know. We'll have you
I
over for
will.
dinner, or we'll see you. Um,
Absolutely.
I just want to say thank you so much for your time, and for this thoughtful insight, because I think a much larger worldly view is needed, and you have that. And I love how you take care of your community and you support your community. Uh, so thank you for being here.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. And if I leave that for your folks, you guys just love each other, respect them, and then adjust based on what someone brings to you. But give them a chance first, first on your first encounter. Give them a chance.
I love that. We're going to go on that. You stay right there. Everybody, thank you for watching. Frank McClary is just an amazing human being. I love him so much, and his wife. And we will be back here tomorrow with more Why Am I Yelling Live. So stay with us tomorrow. Bye, everybody.